Hey everybody, and welcome back. Ready for a deep dive into a book that's practically a self-help classic?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
We're tackling The Four Agreements today by Don Miguel Ruiz.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, this one's jam-packed with wisdom.
It really is. It's a good one.
This isn't just some fluffy self-help stuff. This book draws on ancient Toltec wisdom to give us, basically, a code of conduct.
Right. Yeah.
A code of conduct for personal freedom and happiness.
That's the goal. Right.
Right. And our goal today is to make sure you walk away with a crystal clear understanding of this book's core ideas.
Absolutely.
So you can apply them in your life.
Yeah.
Like straight away. We're basically extracting those golden nuggets of Toltec wisdom so you don't spend hours, deciphering ancient manuscripts.
Yeah, we're going to unpack it. We're going to go deep on this one.
I gotcha.
Because Ruiz, he takes an interesting approach, I think. He starts with this idea of domestication, right?
Domestication.
Yeah, it's like imagine instead of like house training a puppy, we're belief training humans.
Whoa. Never thought of it like that.
It's a good way to think about it, yeah.
But it makes so much sense. Like from a young age, we learn these like rules of life almost, these shoulds and shouldn'ts. And it's like we're downloading societal software. You know what I mean?
Precisely. We're absorbing language, we're absorbing beliefs, ways of reacting emotionally, everything, right? And this domestication, it's what helps us function in society. I mean, that's part of it.
Right.
But it can also box us in,
Totally. Like limit our potential.
Totally limit our potential. And we end up kind of living out this, what he calls this dream of the planet.
The dream of the planet.
Which is like this collective narrative.
Oh, wow.
Woven from these like shared beliefs.
Okay, mind officially blown. So how do we break free from this dream and start living more authentically? I feel like that's where these four agreements come in, right?
That's it. That's the whole point. They're like keys, right? To unlock this like new level of freedom and personal power.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot.
The first agreement, and it's a big one, is be impeccable with your word.
Ooh, that one hit me hard, I'll be honest.
Why? Why is that?
Ruiz describes words as almost like magical. Like we're casting spells with our words on ourselves and others, which is kind of scary when you think about it.
Right.
Like how often do we just throw words around without really thinking about the impact they have?
All the time. All the time. Carelessly, thoughtlessly. Yeah.
It's not just about like direct insults, right? It's the little things we say, the jokes we make, even just like our tone of voice. It all adds up.
Oh, absolutely. It's huge. Have you ever had one of those moments where someone said something to you, maybe even years ago,
Totally.
and it just snuck with you?
Oh, yeah.
Like just this one little comment.
Still there.
Words have this power, to shape beliefs, both in ourselves and in others, for sure.
It's like that saying, what is it? The tongue has no bones, but it can break a heart.
Exactly.
Ruiz gives this really poignant example in the book.
Right.
About a mother who criticizes her daughter's singing voice.
Right. And it's heartbreaking because it's coming from her mom.
Right.
It's coming from this place of love, but, it's still, it's hurtful.
And it's not that the mom, intended to be mean. She probably didn't even realize the impact her words would have.
Yeah, yeah.
But those words become, ingrained in the daughter's psyche.
Yeah.
And they shape how she sees herself. And to me, that's terrifying.
For sure.
Because we don't even realize we're doing it half the time.
We don't.
And it goes beyond, direct criticism, too.
Yeah.
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 Ruiz talks about gossip being like a virus, spreading negativity and eroding trust.
And it is. Because what happens is you get two people talking. One person's like, well, did you hear? And then the other person's like, no, what? You can't help it. You're drawn into it.
Right. Oh, my gosh. It's like we can't resist.
We can't resist. And the thing is, when you're gossiping with somebody, they tell you something, you're way more likely to believe it than if you just read it.
Because you're trusting them and you're like, oh, you wouldn't tell me this if it wasn't true.
Right. And so then what happens is you're perpetuating this negativity without even realizing it. It's in your mind now and you don't even know if it's true.
And that to me is what's so scary about it. It's like we become part of the problem without even realizing it.
Absolutely. And it all goes back to this dream of the planet. We're perpetuating these negative aspects of that dream, feeding into the fear and judgment that keeps us trapped.
So how do we even begin to be more impeccable with our words? I'm going to be honest. It feels almost impossible sometimes.
It is hard. It's definitely a practice, not something you just wake up and you've got. It starts with awareness, though. Paying attention to the words that we choose. Both internally, what are we saying to ourselves, and externally, what are we saying to other people? Are they rooted in truth and kindness and love, or are we just kind of like carelessly tossing these verbal grenades?
And it's not about being silent all the time, right? Because I feel like sometimes people swing to the opposite extreme of, like, well, I'm just not going to say anything at all then.
Right, and that's not it either. You have a voice. Your voice deserves to be heard, but you want to make sure you're using it consciously.
Yeah.
It's not about suppressing your truth. It's about expressing it in a way that's aligned with your values.
So it's more about, like, the intention behind the words, right? Like, why are we saying this? What's the motivation here?
Exactly. It's about awareness, intention, and recognizing the power that our words hold. Like, our words have this ripple effect, you know? They go out into the world and they impact other people, even if we don't see it. So it's about taking responsibility for that impact.
Okay, that makes so much sense. So agreement number 1 is all about choosing our words carefully, being mindful of their impact, speaking our truth with kindness and love. Got it. Now, agreement number 2, don't take anything personally. This one feels especially relevant in today's world where everyone seems to be offended by something.
It's so easy to fall into that trap, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because we're constantly bombarded with information and opinions, and, you know, everyone's got an opinion about everything. Ruiz reminds us, though, that other people's actions and words, they're a reflection of their own reality.
Their own reality.
Their own dream.
Not ours.
Not yours, yeah.
Okay.
It's not about you.
That's a tough one to swallow. How can it not be about me when someone's like literally calling me names?
Yeah. Well, think of it this way. Everyone's like walking around with their own internal dialogue, right?
Okay.
Their own set of beliefs, their own insecurities. And when someone lashes out, they're projecting that, their own inner turmoil, onto you.
So it's like they're seeing me through this like distorted lens.
Exactly.
Colored by their own stuff.
100%. They're responding not to the real you, but to a version of you that they created in their mind.
Based on
their own, what he calls a book of law.
Their book of law. What is that?
I know it sounds kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But it's this idea that, you know, we all have this book, right?
Yeah.
This internal book of rules about ourselves and the world. And a lot of it's written in childhood, right?
Oh, yeah.
By our parents, our teachers, society. It tells us, like, how to interpret events, how to react to people, how to feel about ourselves. And guess what?
Right.
Everybody's book is different.
Whoa. That's actually really profound when you think about it.
It is.
Because, like, someone can say something to me that's like totally innocuous to them.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like, oh, it just kind of like hits a nerve.
Right, because it's hitting something in your book.
Yeah. So using that book of law analogy, if someone's book of law tells them that they're like not good enough,
right,
they might project that onto others by putting them down.
Exactly.
Because that's the only reality they know.
And then on the flip side, you've got people who are really secure.
Right.
And they feel confident and they don't take things personally because they're not looking for that external validation.
They're good. They're solid.
Yeah. They're solid within themselves. They don't need that. Yeah.
And this makes me think about like social media.
Yeah.
Because it's like people get so easily triggered.
Oh, 100%.
By comments online.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like more often than not, it's about the commenter's own insecurity.
Absolutely. 100%. And it's a breeding ground for taking things personally.
Yes.
Because it's anonymous and you can say whatever you want.
It's behind a screen.
It brings up the worst.
And so if we can remember this agreement, you know, don't take anything personally, we can start to detach from that need for external validation.
Exactly.
And recognize our own inherent worth.
Yes. Love
It's about like reclaiming our power.
Yeah.
Instead of letting someone else's words dictate how we feel about ourselves.
Yes.
Okay. Agreement number 3. Hit me.
Agreement number 3. It's all about clear communication and questioning our assumptions. Don't make assumptions.
Oh, assumptions, my old nemesis.
Mm-hmm.
I can be like the queen of jumping to conclusions sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially in like relationships.
Oh, we've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
Ruiz talks about how assumptions often stem from our own fears and insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we see a certain look on someone's face, they don't answer our text right away.
Oh my gosh. It starts spiraling.
Our minds start spinning these elaborate stories.
Totally. And those stories, 9 times out of 10, are way more dramatic than reality.
Way more dramatic.
Right.
We end up creating all this unnecessary drama in our heads based on, like, what? We don't even know if it's true.
Incomplete information.
Exactly.
It's like we're filling in the blanks with our own fears and insecurities.
And we rarely stop to check our assumptions.
Never.
We just run with it.
Run with it. Create a whole movie. Write a screenplay in our minds.
Which is where, the impeccable word comes back. Because this agreement encourages us to communicate clearly.
Okay.
Ask questions. Listen with an open mind instead of just filling in the blanks with our own fears and biases.
So it's about choosing understanding over assumptions.
Yes.
Which, gosh, when you really think about it, if we could all just do that a little bit more, how much conflict could we avoid?
So much. Imagine all the drama that we could just wipe out of our lives just by communicating clearly.
It's about bridging that gap between our perceptions and reality.
100%.
Okay, bring on agreement number 4. What do we got?
All right, this one's deceptively simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Always do your best.
Okay. I have a feeling there's more to it than meets the eye.
There is, because this agreement isn't about pushing ourselves to exhaustion,
Yeah.
Or striving for some unattainable standard of perfection.
Because some days my best is literally just getting out of bed.
Exactly. And Ruiz emphasizes this. Our best fluctuates, right?
Yeah.
Some days it's going to be incredible. Other days it's going to be a little more subdued. And both are perfectly okay.
Okay, I like that. So it's not about the outcome, but it's the intention behind our actions.
Precisely. It's about showing up fully in each moment,
Oh, cool.
whatever that looks like for you, and giving it your all.
Okay.
Without judgment, without the self-criticism.
Oh, that's huge. Without the self-criticism. Because how often do we beat ourselves up for not, doing enough, being enough?
All the time. All the time. Especially, in this day and age.
It's so easy to fall into that trap.
Where you're constantly comparing yourself to everyone on social media.
Right. Like everyone else has it all figured out.
They don't. I'm here to tell you, they don't.
But you do.
I'm working on it.
Me too.
But yeah, it's about giving yourself that grace and that compassion to just show up as you are in each moment and do the best that you can.
I like this. So it's kind of like that story of the meditation student.
Right.
The one who's so busy trying to meditate for hours on end.
Yes.
That they miss the point of finding peace in each moment.
Totally. Yeah.
Right. It's dude, you're stressing yourself out about meditating. That's not the point.
It's about the journey, not the destination.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up authentically, giving it your all, even if your all is different every single day. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I love how Ruiz connects these 4 agreements to even deeper Toltec wisdom, right?
Yeah.
So remember that domestication thing we talked about?
Yes.
He takes it a step further with this idea of the parasite.
The parasite, yeah.
And I know when you hear a parasite, you probably think creepy crawlies, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. But it's not that kind of parasite.
Not a physical parasite.
Not a physical one, no.
This is an inner critic.
Yes.
Right? It's this voice of the judge, this voice of the victim.
Yeah.
All fueled by those old limiting beliefs that we've internalized.
Yes. You're not good enough.
That word.
Not lovable.
All that fun stuff that we've absorbed from the, the dream of the planet.
Right.
This is what we're dealing with, people. This is it.
Yeah, and this parasite loves to feast on our negativity, right?
Yeah.
It just keeps us trapped in these self-sabotaging patterns.
Because the more we feed into it, the stronger it gets.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. The more you believe those negative thoughts,
right,
the more power you're giving them.
So how do we fight back against this inner critic?
Yeah.
How do we even begin to break free?
Mm-hmm.
It feels almost impossible sometimes.
Yeah, it's definitely a process.
Right.
But Ruiz offers this really powerful antidote, the 3 masteries.
The 3 masteries. Okay, hit me.
Number 1, awareness.
What?
You got to wake up to the fact that this parasite is running the show. In our minds, yeah. Notice those negative thought patterns.
Okay.
Notice those knee-jerk reactions you have.
It's hitting the pause button on autopilot.
Yes.
Instead of just reacting like we always do.
Yes. Being present.
It's about becoming aware of those moments where we're taking things personally.
Yes.
Or, making assumptions, being careless with our words.
You're like, hold on a second. What's going on here?
Right. Like, am I really reacting to the situation or am I reacting to my own stuff?
Right. Exactly.
And then once we're aware.
We can move into transformation.
Transformation.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is mastery number 2.
Mastery number 2.
This is where we actively challenge those old limiting beliefs.
Yes.
And start replacing them with the 4 agreements. We're literally rewriting the code of our minds, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like you're taking control back.
Right. Like updating our operating system from fear-based to one that's based on love and personal power and authenticity.
So good. And then what's the 3rd mastery?
That brings us to intent.
Intent. Oh.
Intent is the driving force behind transformation.
Sure.
It's about aligning ourselves with love.
Okay.
Aligning ourselves with our deepest truth and letting that energy guide our actions and create lasting change.
So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts.
Yeah. No.
It's about embodying those thoughts, letting them inform our actions, our words, our entire way of being in the world.
Absolutely.
Walking the talk.
Yeah. 100%.
Not just talking it. Okay. I like this a lot.
And as we master these 3 things, awareness, transformation, and intent.
Yeah.
Ruiz says that we can create what he calls heaven on earth.
Heaven on earth. Ooh, I like that. But what does that even mean? Is that this blissful state of constant happiness, no problems ever? Because that sounds kind of boring if you ask me.
It's not about being happy all the time. Life is always going to throw curveballs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's more about how you respond to those curveballs.
Oh.
It's about finding that inner peace.
Yeah.
Regardless of what's going on around you.
So it's okay, life is happening, things are going to happen, but I have this inner peace.
I'm solid. I'm good.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
It's about showing up authentically as you.
Yeah.
And living in alignment with your values.
And the best part is creating this heaven on earth. It's not about some grand external achievement.
No.
It's an inside job.
Exactly.
Which is empowering when you think about it because we actually have some control over this.
100%. Yeah. We get to decide.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the 4 agreements, I want to leave you with this.
Okay.
Imagine you could rewrite the dream of your life. Okay.
Yeah.
Using these agreements as guiding principles.
I love that.
What would your new dream look like? What areas of your life could benefit from a little more impeccability, a little less assumption making, a commitment to always doing your best? Leave that with you. Yeah, those are great questions to think about. How can you apply these agreements in a practical way to your everyday life?
Because it's one thing to understand the concepts, but it's another thing entirely to actually live them.
Absolutely. It's an ongoing practice. Yeah.
So to our amazing listeners,
yeah,
keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep dreaming big.
Love it.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you in the next one.